Welcome everyone. Today's lecture is on cholinergic drugs. Learning objective. By the end of this lecture, you will be able to classify muscarinic agonists and anticholinesterase drug, explain mechanism of action of muscarinic agonists, explain pharmacological properties of muscarinic agonists, explain mechanism of action and pharmacological properties of anticholinesterase drug, discuss clinical uses and doses of anticholinesterase drugs, and discuss clinical features and management of anticholinesterase poisoning. Cholinergic drugs. So, what do you mean by cholinergic drugs? These are the drugs which produces action similar to that of acetylcholine in two ways. First is that they are going to interact directly with the cholinergic receptors, and here they are called as cholinergic agonists, directly acting cholinergic drugs. Or second is that they are going to increases the availability of acetylcholine at this site, and here it is called as indirectly acting cholinergic drugs and anticholinesterase. The various synonyms for the cholinergic drugs are cholinomimetic, parasympathomimetic, muscarinic agonist, cholineceptor activating drug, and cholinergic agonist. Classification of cholinergic drugs. Cholinergic drugs is classified into two types. The first one is directly acting. So these are the drugs which are going to produce action similar to that of acetylcholine, mainly by interacting directly with cholinergic receptor, that is muscarinic receptor and nicotinic receptor. It is further classified into two categories. The first one is choline ester, example acetylcholine, methacholine, carbachol, benzenichol. Second one is alkaloid, example is muscarine, pilocarpine, ericoline. Okay. Now, the second type of cholinergic drugs are indirect acting. So, these are the drugs whose main purpose is to increases the availability of acetylcholine. So, how they are going to do means, as you know, cholinesterase is the enzyme which is responsible for the breakdown of acetylcholine to choline and acetate. So, these are the drugs which are going to inhibit the cholinesterase enzyme, and that is why they are called as anticholinesterase drugs or cholinesterase inhibitor. So by inhibiting the cholinesterase enzyme, they are going to increases the availability of acetylcholine. So these drugs are further classified into two categories. The first is reversible anticholinesterase and second one is irreversible anticholinesterase. So reversible anticholinesterase, under that carbamates, example physostigmine, neostigmine, peridostigmine, idrophonium, rivastigmine, donepezil, galantine. And under acridine, example is tacrine. Irreversible anticholinesterase, carbamate, example carbaryl, propoxur, and organophosphate, example diphos, icotophiate, palathon, diazinon, tabun, sarin, suman. And organophosphorus compounds are basically used as insecticides and nerve gases. So first we will discuss regarding the first type of cholinergic drug, that is directly acting cholinergic drug. In that, acetylcholine is used as a prototype drug. And this acetylcholine, when we see, it is not going to have any importance therapeutically. Why? Because it is going to get hydrolyzed rapidly by cholinesterase enzyme. And second is that it is having diverse action. As acetylcholine is responsible for ganglionic stimulation, skeletal muscle stimulation, parasympathetic effect, and also adrenal stimulation. So, because of these two disadvantages, the acetylcholine is having no importance therapeutically. Let's see mechanism of action of acetylcholine. Okay, so depending on the type of receptor through which it is mediated, the peripheral action of acetylcholine are classified as muscarinic or nicotinic. See, if acetylcholine is going to bind to the muscarinic receptor, the actions are called as muscarinic action. If acetylcholine is going to bind to the nicotinic receptor, the action produced are called as nicotinic action. So first we will talk about regarding the muscarinic action. So what are muscarinic actions means? The action produced as a result of acetylcholine released from the postganglionic parasympathetic nerve ending in various tissues are termed as muscarinic action. So in this table column, we will see the muscarinic action of acetylcholine, organ system, and the action produced on that organ. So first heart, in that essay note, it is going to cause us negative chronotropic effect. That means it is going to decreases the heart rate. On atria, negative inotropic effect. That means decrease in the force of contraction. On AV node, that is negative dromotrophy. That is decrease in the conduction of AV node. And on ventricle, a small decrease in contractility. So this is first system, that is heart. Next system is blood vessels. So not innervated M3 receptors in the vessels. Okay, so it is not going to have any innovation in the blood vessels, but they are going to produce a vasodilation by means of endothelial derived relaxin factor, that is nitric oxide. And third system is the smooth muscle. So in GIT, they are going to increases the motility, and further they are going to increases the salivary and intestinal secretion also. On bronchi, they are going to produce a spasm and increases the secretion. Urinary bladder, they are going to contract the detusor muscles but relaxes the sphincter muscle. And on eye, this is very important. On eye, acetylcholine is going to cause meiosis. Meiosis means that is constriction of pupil. That is, in simple word, decrease in the size of pupil, and it is going to contract the ciliary muscle, and that is going to result for accommodation to near vision, and they are also going to decreases the intraocular pressure, that is the pressure in the eye. So this was regarding the muscarinic action. Next is nicotinic action. The action of acetylcholine at nicotinic receptors are termed as nicotinic action. So organ system and action. On CNS, it is going to have a complex behavioral and neurological effect, whereas on a skeletal muscle, it is going to causes contraction, and that contraction is happening due to the depolarization of motor end plate. That means opening of the sodium channel, influx of sodium channel, that is going to result in depolarization, and the end result will be contraction. And on autonomic ganglia, it is going to causes the stimulation of sympathetic and parasympathetic ganglia, that will causes release of norepinephrine, and thus there will be a rise in blood pressure. Next is adverse effects of acetylcholine: nausea, urinary urgency, diarrhea, diaphoresis, that is excessive sweating, and meiosis, that is constriction of pupil, decrease in the size of the pupil. Next is choline esters. Examples are methacholine, carbachol, benthnicol. So here you can see that carbachol is going to have both muscarinic and nicotinic action, whereas benthnicol is going to have only muscarinic action. And what are the therapeutic uses of choline ester is that they are basically used as meiotic agent in the treatment of glaucoma. So what is glaucoma means? It is an eye disease in which there will be a damage to the optic nerve, and there will be a pressure in the high pressure, intraocular pressure, increase in the ocular pressure. So here basically we use acetylcholine and carbachol for the treatment of glaucoma as a meiotic agent. And next is in the treatment of post-operative intestinal atony and urinary retention. For that, bitonicol, it is basically given orally before meals. Urinary retention. See, in some people after surgery, there will be difficulty for them to urinate. And post-operative intestinal atony means that is after surgery, the motility of GIT is going to get inhibited. So in those conditions, we can make use of bitonicol, and it should be given orally before meals. So next we will see the properties of choline ester in the comparison way: acetylcholine, carbachol, and benthnicol. So nature-wise, we see acetylcholine is natural, whereas carbachol and benthnicol is synthetic. Metabolism, as we know, acetylcholine is going to get metabolized by cholinesterase enzyme. It can be true or it can be pseudocholinesterase enzyme. Whereas carbachol, benthnicol, no metabolism. Duration, acetylcholine duration is very short, whereas carbachol and benthnicol duration is very longer. Muscarinic action, all three of them is going to show the muscarinic action. Nicotinic action is going to be shown by acetylcholine and carbachol, and it is not at all going to be shown by benthnicol. And next is that selective action on. So acetylcholine is having non-selective action, whereas carbachol is having a selective action on eye, GIT, and urinary bladder, and benthnicol is having selective action on GIT, and urinary bladder. Next is cholinomagnetic natural alkaloid. Under that, pilocarpine, which is basically obtained from the leaves of Pilocarpus macrophyllus and other species. Its major therapeutic indication is in the treatment of glaucoma in the form of eye drops. So pilocarpine is obtained from Pilocarpus macrophyllus and other species, and the main use of pilocarpine is in the treatment of glaucoma. So glaucoma means there will be a damage to the optic nerve and there will be an increase in the pressure of the eye, and here we are going to use pilocarpine in the form of eye drops for the treatment of glaucoma. Mechanism of action is that it has very prominent muscarinic action and it can also stimulate the ganglia, mainly through ganglionic muscarinic receptors. Other action is that it can be applied to eye, where it can penetrate the cornea and promptly causes miosis, ciliary muscle contraction, and a fall in intraocular tension which lasts for 4 to 8 hours. And pilocarpine is used only in the eye as 0.5 to 4% drop. And it is used in the treatment of open angle glaucoma and to counteract the mydriasis produced by atropine. So it can be used to treat the mydriasis, that is dilation of the pupil, which is mainly produced by atropine. Next is it is used to break the adhesion in iridocyclitis, that is the inflammation of iris, and the side effect is pulmonary edema.